Hi everyone, in today's video I want to teach you about the Xlookup function. This is a relatively new function. It is very versatile, and as you use Excel, if you use it in your profession, as you use it in your personal use for budgeting, all those things, I will guarantee you will need to learn and need to know this function. It's relatively new. Came out in around 2020 when it was released. It's only available to those that are Office 365 and newer. It replaces the Hlookup, the Vlookup, and the Index and Match functions. I am Tyler Lewis with Lewis Excel, and I'm a data and spreadsheet specialist. Let's get started. Okay, to teach this function, I wanted to show you this is my personal use. I'm creating a basketball manager in Excel. I'm starting from scratch again. I've created this before. It got really, with all the memory that you used, it got really slow. And so I'm starting over from scratch, trying to make it a little better aesthetically pleasing, like I'm adding some better graphics to this game. And with this game, I need to use the lookup functions very often. That is probably the most used function in this application. And so I thought it'd be appropriate to show you how to use this function. So right now, as you can see, this is the year 1996 is where I'm starting, which is one of my favorite years in watching basketball growing up. 1996, I have fond memories, really great. The video game NBA Live 96 was very fun. I mean, I just have very fond memories. That's the reason why I used the year 96, and I had some of my favorite all-time players in the NBA playing at the time. And so it just brings back nostalgia for me. So that's the reason why I'm choosing that. So right now I have the player attributes sheet, and I'm coming up with their ratings, right? And the ratings is basically, this close rating is their ability to make shots. And I'm going off of their percentage, what they had that year. So I'm going to switch windows to another table that I found that has their percentages. And I'm going to do an Xlookup function that will show it here. And I'll show you why Excel is so much, or why Xlookup is so much better and so much easier to use than, let's say, the index and match function. Okay, in my quick access toolbar, I have the icon right here, switch windows. I put it right there in switch windows, which makes it much easier for me to just go right here, because it's normally in your view tab in your ribbon, and it's right here in switch windows. I don't like to have to keep going between all my tabs, and so I try and put in my quick access toolbar certain icons that takes less. If I put it here, it takes less steps to get to. And usually your quick access toolbar is up here. I put it down. You can move it down here under your ribbon, which gives you a lot more room to add more icons in your quick access toolbar. Anyways, I have another workbook open right here, players 95, your 1995-96 NBA season. This is their per game. This is a table of all their per game stats, okay? I am going to try and transfer and I want to create this rating for this basketball player in my manager game to starting off, so when they download it or when I play it, it'll start off with this information that I'm going to put in. And I want to create as close to realism as I could, and I'm going to make this shooting rating, the rating to make baskets, is closer than the 3-point rating. And to do that, I'm going to need to use the Xlookup function to bring in this rating. All right, let's get started with that. Okay, first off, we're going to start typing in the formula. So equals Xlookup. All right. Now the first option that we need to put in, there's 3 that are mandatory, 3 that if you don't enter in data for the first 3 options, the lookup value, the lookup array, and the return array, this function will not work. Very simple, only 3, which is a lot better than your Hlookup, the Vlookup, and the index and match, which have a lot more categories to input data for the function to work. The first one we want to do is the lookup value. The lookup value is basically the connector between the 2 cells that you're trying to, the cell that you're trying to pull data from and the cell that you're trying to create that data. The connector for me is the basketball player's name. A lot of times For example, if you're looking up maybe a vehicle, information about a vehicle by a VIN number, the VIN number category would be your lookup value. Or if you're looking up maybe an employee name from their number, so if you're typing an employee number and it has to bring up certain information about them, the employee number is that lookup value, the connector value. So right now we're going to put in this cell. So for this cell P5, I need to have it reference whatever is in the name in B5, which where this is a table, it's just going to say at player name, which is this cell, right? So if it was not a table, it would say cell B5. I'm going to push a comma to go to the next one, to your lookup array. Now, where are we going to have the Excel search for this name at? We need to go into the other area, which right now is another workbook for me, but it could be in another cell. You just got to go to, or another sheet. It could go to the other sheet and find that range of where all the names are, which I'm going to click on the column of where all the names are. And now your next one will be your return array, which is what information are you wanting to pull from? So I want to pull from the fill goal percentage. That is where I'm trying to pull from. For me, for you, this would be like if you're looking up for an employee's name and your connector was the employee ID. Now this is where you want to put in the column of where the employees' names are, stuff like that. I'm going to click on fill goal percentage. I'm going to press enter, and it's going to bring up all of the information. That's how you use Xlookup. Now the Xlookup, let me show you how much easier it is to use the Xlookup versus the index match function, right? So if we go through here and we delete, I want to do, so I'm going to go equals index. So the first one you want to do is the index. And I'm going to look for the array, which is, now this is different. You're looking up, what do you want to put in this cell? What do you want to put in this cell? What I want to put in the cell is in another workbook, so I got to go to the other workbook, and it needs to be in fill goal percentage. That is what I want it to pull. It needs to pull from there. Now for your row number, we're going to match it. We're going to use the match function. We're going to mash this function with index. And we want to find the lookup value, which is back on the other page. So I'm going to skip that. And I want to do the lookup array. So this is the connector. Basically, we're matching the connector cell. So I want to match the name. Here you want it to be an exact match, pressing 0, and close parentheses, because you were working off of basically two functions, the index function and the match function. I'm going to press enter, and it's going to give me an error because I didn't put in the lookup value, which I always do this because now I'm going to come over into here and I'm going to look up this cell right there, and now I'm going to press enter and it'll fix it. Right there. That's where it does. So that's a lot longer. You're using two functions to create this lookup value. The reason why this is a lot better than the Hlookup or Vlookup, it doesn't really matter like where this name would have been. In Hlookup and Vlookup, it has to be the connector cell has to be to the left. The connector column has to be to the left. And that made it very problematic, very hard. You had to think ahead quite a bit, plan ahead a lot better and a lot more with the Hlookup and Vlookup. That's what index match replaced, but Hlookup made basically index and match, it mashed it together and made it into one function with a lot less memory to use. But that's how you use index and match functions. What I would suggest with using Excel, since you have these two options, index and match function or Xlookup, if you don't have Office 365 and you have your Microsoft 2019 and before, I would use index and match because you don't have Xlookup. You try and go away from Vlookup and Hlookup, but if you have Office 365, the new version, use Xlookup. That is so much easier to use and it uses a lot less memory. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it really helped you out. And please like and subscribe, and please share my video to those that would need this information to help their Excel work a lot easier and to flow a lot better. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you later in the next video. Bye.